Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Soph and on this channel we talk about all things books. For today's video I am going to be doing a little bit of a tiny haul, and by tiny haul I mean I have about 25-ish books, give or take. Some of these are books that I've acquired from subscription boxes, and the other like 20 are ones that I have accumulated from various hauls because I got a promotion, got a pay rise, treated myself to some, I've had some gifted, and yeah, so I'm just going to get straight on into it because I know you all want to hear about these books and I want to get these books away. I'm trying to get like the best out of the lighting situation. So I'm just going to start with this box here. So there's 3 piles to go through. I think I'll do the subscription ones first just to get them out of the way. Oh my god, I'm so excited for all of the books in these piles. We have The Crimson Moth by Kristen Ciccarelli. This I believe is called The Heartless Hunter in the US. I think. This is a fairy loot book. It is absolutely stunning. Gorgeous, and this follows a witch and a witch hunter, I believe. So it says, one night, Rune's life changes forever, blood ran in the streets. Now, in the aftermath of a devastating revolution, witches have been diminished from powerful rulers to outcasts ruthlessly hunted due to their wane in magic, and Rune must hide what she is. Spending her days pretending to be nothing but a vapid young socialite, Rune spends her night as the Crimson Moth, a witch vigilante who rescues her kind from being purged. When a rescue goes wrong, Rune decides to throw the witch hunters off her scent by courting the handsome Gideon Sharp. Except Gideon is a notorious and unforgiving witch hunter loyal to the revolution, and falling for him would be deadly. This is one book that I am really excited about, and I've seen a lot of people reading it recently on BookTube, and I think people have been enjoying it. This edition is absolutely stunning, and I think this might go on my May TBR, to be honest. I feel like this would be a fun book to read this month, but I may say that for all of them, honestly. It's also given Serpent and Dove vibes. We then have A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, so I'm sorry if I butchered it. Again, another stunning edition. There's no blurb on this copy, so I can't really explain what it is, but I have seen a lot of mixed reviews. I remember reading the Goodreads synopsis and I remember thinking, wow, this sounds really good. And I think a lot of people had the same opinion, but when it's been actually read, people don't seem to be enjoying it that much. I'm not sure why. Maybe I will enjoy it. I'll have to see. We then have A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft. This is another one that is, again, stunning as always. Looks like an actual fairy tale book. This is one that I was really excited to read, but I unboxed the subscription box and then put it back away and then forgot that it existed. But this one follows Regency era, I think. So our main character is a dressmaker and she's tasked with designing the prince's wardrobe for a royal wedding, but the magic in her blood that lets her stitch emotions and memories into fabric is the same magic that will eventually kill her. Cursed and alone, Neve finds herself drawn to the prickly cold prince, and an unlikely friendship begins to blossom into something more. That is, until an anonymous gossip column, Bridgerton Gossip Girl vibes, is released, exposing the chemistry and threatening scandal. So it's like a fantasy Bridgerton, and I'm here for it. I'm so here for it, and it's just so pretty. It's so pretty. Then, lastly, we have Law of the Wilds by Annalise Sprana. This is the first romantasy subscription box book. Again, stunning. This is a fae romance fantasy, and I'm very excited to give it a go. If you didn't know, Fairyloot have just started doing a romantasy book only subscription. So their normal one is YA fantasy. You can also get adult fantasy, and now it is romantasy. And I have cancelled my YA subscription and just gone for the book only romantasy because that is the books that I tend to read. So rather than constantly getting YA fantasy that I may not pick up, I will get the romantasy, which tends to be adult from the description they gave, and I'm much more likely to read those ones. So This one just says, a library with a deadly enchantment, a fey lord who wants in, and a human woman willing to risk it all for a taste of power. In a land ruled by ruthless fey, 21-year-old lord's village is trapped in a forested prison. Law knows that any escape attempt is futile. Her scars are a testament to her past failures. But when her village is threatened, Lord makes a desperate deal with the Fey Lord. She convinces him that she will risk her life for wealth, but really, she's after the one thing the Fae covet above all, magic of her own. As Law navigates the hostile world outside of her village, she's forced to rely on 2 Fae males to survive. When undeniable chemistry ignites, she's not just in danger of losing her life, but also her heart, to the very creatures she can never trust. The perfect cottagecore book about books with a love triangle that will keep you guessing. I'm not a massive fan of love triangles. That's the only thing that kind of puts me off this book. I don't think there's been a love triangle that I've really gelled with, but I'm still gonna give it a go eventually. So those were the subscription box books. So they're the ones that I didn't choose. Now for the so many books that I did choose. And I just want to throw this in. I'm not bragging. I am not saying you have to buy so many books to be a booktuber, to be a reader or anything. I just hadn't done a big book haul for a while, and I felt like treating myself because I earned a promotion. That was my choice. I did not get sent anything. I am not bragging. I just thought now's the time to buy a bunch of books that I've been keeping my eye out for. So that's that. I'm just going to get into the second part of the haul. So first up we have Daughter of No Wells by Carissa Broadbent. This is #1 in the War of the Lost Hearts. I read Serpent and the Wings of Night. It wasn't everything that I was hoping for, but I really liked her writing style, so I thought I'll give her other series a go as well. This one is still independently published, so we've got a nice big sized floppy paperback. So our main character was in slavery, but she has magic, and the night she tried to buy her freedom, she nearly paid with her life. Instead, she murdered the most powerful man in Thrall. Forced to flee, she has only one chance at saving those she left behind, pledging herself to the Orders, an organisation of magic wielders strong enough to destroy her former masters. To earn her place, Tisana is forced into an apprenticeship with Maxentarius Farleon, we'll call him Max, a handsome and reclusive fire wielder who despises the Orders. He has no interest in helping her, but as the Orders grips tighten around them both, his bloody past may be the key to her future or their downfall. Under looming war, Tisana must master her magic and survive the Order's demands, and her feelings for Max deepens. She is forced to decide how much she is willing to trade away for revenge. The Orders have bigger plans for Tisana, darker plans, but Tisana will stop at nothing to save those she abandoned, even if it means forfeiting her freedom and sacrificing her heart. Even if it means wielding death itself. Doesn't that sound so good? It sounds so good to me. And honestly, a lot of people haven't preferred that book, but that one sounds really good to me. It's kind of giving Throne of Glass vibe. But yeah, so I am very excited for that one. We then have Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. Kerri Maniscalco wrote the Kingdom of the Wicked series, which I absolutely adore. I haven't finished the last one, but the first two, absolutely adore. And this series is like a historical fantasy romance vibe set in Victorian times. Groomed to be the perfect highborn Victorian lady, Audrey has a decidedly different plan for herself. After the loss of her beloved mother, she is determined to understand the nature of death and its workings. Trading her embroidery needle for an autopsy scalpel, Audrey secretly apprentices in forensics. She soon gets drawn into the investigation of serial killer Jack the Ripper, but to her horror, the search for clues brings her far closer to her sheltered world than she ever thought possible. Inspired by the infamously unsolved case, this dazzling debut by Kerri Maniscalco weaves an atmospheric tale of beauty and darkness in which a remarkably modern Victorian girl discovers that some buried secrets simply won't stay dead. Doesn't that sound so fun? And the other ones are like Escaping Houdini, Hunting Dracula. So I was going to get the whole set because I do feel like I'm going to really, really enjoy this, but I thought, no. I'll read this one first. If I love it, then I will continue with the series. We then have Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Jennifer L. Armentrout wrote one of my other favourite series, which is From Blood and Ash. I read the original trilogy and I haven't read any more because the books just kept coming out so fast and I was enthralled in so many other books. But when it was just the first 3, I absolutely ate them up. I love her writing. It's so easy to read, and this is her newest series, so I'm excited to fall into her worlds again. And this one follows a world that was destroyed by gods, where only 9 cities were spared, and they were separated by a vast wilderness teeming with monsters and unimaginable dangers. Each city is now ruled by a guardian, royals who feed on mortal pleasure. Born with an intuition that never fails, Callista knows her talents are valuable to the powerful of her world, so she lives hidden in the Baron of Archwood's courtesan. In exchange for protection, she gives him information. However, when her intuition saves a prince in dire trouble, the voice inside her blazes with warning and promise. Today, he will bring her joy, but one day he will be her doom. When the Baron takes an interest in the prince, and the prince takes an interest in Callista, she becomes his temporary companion. However, her city simmers with rebellion. With knights and monsters at the city gates and a hungry prince in her bed, even her powerful instincts may not be enough to keep her safe. Callista must choose to follow her intuition to safety or her heart to downfall. Again, so good. I just love the worlds that Jennifer L. Armentrout creates. I have another one of her books somewhere in these piles, and I'm just so excited for it, honestly. The other Jennifer L. Armentrout book I have is Storm and Fury. This is a trilogy, I believe. I have a feeling I'm gonna love it because it follows a main character who is going blind, but she can see and communicate with ghosts and spirits. And it's based in a world where there's demon and gargoyle protectors, which are called wardens, and they shapeshift into gargoyles. And there are reports of something killing both demons and wardens, which causes Trinity's world to implode, not least because one of the outsiders is the most annoying and fascinating person she's ever met. Zane has secrets of his own that will upend the world yet again, but working together becomes imperative once demons breach the compound and Trinity's secret comes to light. To save her family and maybe the world, she'll have to trust Zane, but all bets are off as a supernatural war is unleashed. Now, if you know me, my favourite show is Supernatural, and there are many wars in that show. And I love Supernatural with my whole being. That is like my show. If anyone says, what's your favourite show? Supernatural. There are a lot of shows that I really love and probably come joint second, but nothing beats Supernatural for me. And this is just like Supernatural in a book. I just love it. I love it. Like, and it's floppy, and the boyfriend or the love interest has wings, and there's 2 more books after this one. So we then have Lightlark by Alex Astor, which is kind of like Powerless from what I can gather. There's a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. To survive, Isla Crown must lie, cheat, betray, even as love complicates everything. Again, I've seen very mixed reviews. I've seen some reviews saying this is really good, especially for like Throne of Glass and Powerless, and some people are just saying it just lacks substance. But as long as it's a good time, a fun time, I'm okay with that. Like, I don't expect every book I read to be a literary masterpiece. I just want to have a good time while I read and to feel some things while I read. So, I am excited for this one. That is going on my May TBR. We then have A Dawn of Onyx by Katie Golden. This is number 1 in The Sacred Stones. This follows a girlie who offers her place in order to save her brothers. So she's taken prisoner by the most dangerous kingdom on the continent and made to use her rare magical abilities to heal the soldiers of the vicious Onyx King. There is a woods surrounding this kingdom which are deadly, which means working with a fellow prisoner might be her only path to freedom. Unfortunately, he is as infuriating as he is cunning and seems to take twisted pleasure in playing on Arwen's deepest fears. To make it out of enemy territory, she will have to navigate backstabbing royals, dark magic, and deadly beasts. But untold power lies within Arwen, dormant and waiting for a spark. If she can harness it, she might be able to escape with her life and hopefully her heart. So, this sounds so good. I've seen a couple people on BookTube again say that they really enjoyed it, and they tend to have similar taste to me in terms of like. We then have one of the chunkiest romances, well, the chunkiest romance I have ever seen, and you probably already know what I'm going to say. It is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I gave into the hype. I need to know what this is all about. At first I was like, a romance doesn't need to be this big. It just doesn't. It's like just under 1,000 pages. Oh, sorry, just under 800 pages. But from what I hear, it isn't just a romance book. It hits some very hard-hitting topics, and it just kind of follows all the characters through their lives. Like, you really get to dive deep into them, and it follows a college, some like students at a college, and our main girl in this one has just moved to the college, and she ends up involved with one of the guys from the college. But it says life has never been easy for Shannon. She arrives at the prestigious private school praying for a fresh start, desperate to shake off the demons that plague her. On her very first day, she encounters the notorious Johnny. Instantly drawn to him, Shannon finds herself once again the target of bullies as she forms a fragile alliance with the rugby's rising star. But as they fall into a complicated friendship and grapple with their undeniable chemistry, Johnny and Shannon cannot foresee the obstacles that will threaten their blossoming relationship. I believe there is a lot of hard-hitting topics, and it's quite a hard and emotional ride through the 800 pages, so I kind of get why it's chunkier now, but at first I was like, why is there a romance that is so big? This one I'm also very excited about, and it is called Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I absolutely love the Chestnut Spring series. I'm on the 4th book, I think. I read the 3rd book last month. So yeah, I'm on the 4th book. I really don't want this to end, but this one is book 1 in the Rose Hill series, which follows a billionaire and his best friend's sister. I'm excited for that, and I have heard people say that some characters from Chestnut Springs have a little cameo in this book, so I'm very excited for that. And I just love Elsie Silver's writing. It's so easy to read, so fast paced. I'm really excited for that one. This one has been all over TikTok, and I gave into the hype. I guess I want to make myself cry, but it's If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. Follows Autumn and Finn, who used to be inseparable, but then something changed, or they changed. Now they do their best to ignore each other. Autumn has her boyfriend Jamie and her close-knit group of friends. Finn has become that boy at school, the one that everyone wants to be around. That still doesn't stop the way Autumn feels every time she and Finn cross paths, and the growing nagging thought that maybe things could have been different, maybe they should be together. And as time passes, Autumn realises she might not get another chance to make things right before it's too late. I know there is death in this book, and I know it is an emotional ride. I guess I woke up and chose crying that day. But I heard it is also a very beautiful book. So next up we have a book that is for my 4th wing girlies. That is Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. This follows a revolution, a chance to be dragon riders. We have 2 childhood best friends who are both entered into this dragon riding, I want to say quadrant because that's what it's called in 4th wing, but it's a class for dragon riders. And although they grew up together, they started off with very different beginnings into the world. Annie was in a low-born family, and Lee was born into the aristocrats who rule the city. 7 years of training have made them rivals for the top position in the dragon riding fleet. But everything changes when survivors from the old regime surface, bent on reclaiming their city. With war on the horizon, Lee must choose to kill the only family he has left, or to betray everything he's come to believe in. And Annie must decide whether to protect her dearest friend, or step up to be the champion her city needs. Loyalty and love are tested in this gripping adventure that asks what matters most, the family you were born into, or the family you have chosen. Again, this is a trilogy, I believe. I think I'm gonna love it though. I'm so hooked on the whole dragon riding vibe at the moment. Like, I cannot. If you have any dragon riding book recommendations, please drop them below. We then have An Heir Comes to Rise by Chloe C. Panoranda. This is a book that I have seen on Amazon for years and never bought, but it came back up when I was doing some browsing for books. And our main character, Faith, is an orphan with a talent for swordplay, and she knows the importance of keeping her head down during the Fae patrol. She and her best friend, Jacqueline, long for a better life, and her desire to swing her sword in combat may bring the purpose and coin she's yearned for. When she draws the attention of Royal Guard Nick, she soon learns that her mortal nature isn't the only reason to remain out of sight. Nick is a Nightwalker, a silent assassin of the mind and with the power to enter others' dreams. And whether she trusts him or not, he's about to awaken abilities and faith that shouldn't exist in a human. Nightmarish abilities, deadly abilities, abilities that will teach Faith blood really does run thicker than water, and if she doesn't trust in higher power soon, blood will run indeed. For this is no battle Faith can fight with steel. Within the city walls, suspicions are arising, and here in the outer town, she has deeper bonds to protect. It seems everyone will die with a dark secret to tell, but what if one unlikely human girl was born harbouring the darkest secret of all? Sounds so good. And I think there are more books from the series out now. We then have Eternal Rain by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti, which are the authors of Zodiac Academy, which I thoroughly enjoyed the first one. Haven't read any more though, but I was absolutely shocked to discover they have a vampire series. This is the Age of Vampires series, and honestly I think it's like 10 books long. I'm not saying I'm going to read all of them, but I do think it would be rude of me to not give this one a go. But it's about vampires that like claim humans as their like food bank basically. And it says here, my whole life I've been nothing but a means to an end. Livestock kept encaged for the production of blood. The annual testing is about to begin, and those who pass are never seen again, so F that. My twin and I decided to risk it all, to run before the royals could claim us. Turns out that dream expired fast. I'm at his mercy now, trapped in his castle, destined to become his creature, and forced into a dangerous game of rivalry between the seductive vampire princes. I need to get back to my sister, but she's caught up in a trap of her own, tangled with the last slayer to walk this earth. She's at his mercy too, the man with violence tattooed across his skin, death trailing his footsteps as he stalks his prey. The gods are toying with us all, placing my twin and I on opposite ends of an ancient war, and in the end, I fear there won't be any victors left standing. So I'm going to play a game of my own. Let my captor use me as his puppet until I find my moment to strike. Let this hell-born ritual of lust, lies, and blood begin. Now, this was obviously written, I'm assuming, before Zodiac Academy, and the writing in Zodiac Academy is not the best, so I'm not expecting the best work from this, but that's why I didn't just go ham on like the whole series, because although there may be a very good story underneath, if it's not written well, I won't be continuing. I'll give it a go, but I'm not gonna like force my way through something. We then have another Kerry Maniscalco book, and that is Throne of the Fallen. This is a book within the Kingdom of the Wicked universe, but it follows a different character. So if you didn't know, the Kingdom of the Wicked book follows a witch who asks for the help of a demon prince who represents one of the deadly sins. All the princes of hell represent a deadly sin of some kind. So the one that was in Kingdom of the Wicked was wrath. This one, it follows envy, which is obviously a different prince. I don't know if it follows on from anything that happens in Kingdom of the Wicked, so I don't want to read too much into it, because I still need to read the last book in that series. Envy was quite a prominent character in the Kingdom of the Wicked series, so I would imagine there is something that like continues on into this. So I'm not going to read too much into it, but I know that it follows that character. So this one is Zodiac Academy 3, which is The Reckoning. Again, I'm not going to read the back because I haven't read the second one and I don't want it to spoil anything for me, but this one gets chunky. Like the other two are relatively slim. They're kind of like the same size as that vampire book I just showed you, but this one is chunky, and I think the rest are chunky as well. I really just enjoy the whole magic system and stuff that is in the series. The writing apparently gets better as you go on, which makes sense, but the story I just love. It's like really unique, I think. Anyway, if you didn't know, the premise is that we have twins who discover they are born of magic, and there is a academy, the Zodiac Academy, where all the magically gifted kids go, and all of their magic is based off of zodiac signs. The twins are Gemini, funnily enough, and they are just trying to fit in, but they discover they're a little bit more than just some magic people from this realm, and the other students have a lot against them, so they're trying to survive this school and like learn their magic and everything, and it's very good. It's got a bit of bully romance in it, so if you don't like bully romance, please do not read that. Then we have The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. I have put off this book for so long. I've seen it everywhere, but it's always described as fantasy with no fantastical elements. There's no magic or anything, it's just courts and kingdoms, which is kind of what put me off, but apparently it's really good and the romance is really good, so I decided to give it a go. And it says here, raised as a warrior, Princess Lara knows two things: that King Aaron of the Bridge Kingdom is enemy, and that she must be the one to bring him to his knees. The Bridge Kingdom is the only route through a storm-ravaged world, and it uses its power to deprive its enemies, including Lara's homeland. When she's sent to be King Aaron's bride, Lara will do whatever it takes to bring down the kingdom's defences, even if it means seducing her new husband. Yet, as she learns more about the war to possess the bridge, Lara's feelings for Aaron transform from hostility to passion, and she faces a terrible dilemma: which kingdom to save and which to destroy. So it does sound good, and there is a second book called The Traitor Queen. I am excited for this. A bit sad about the no magic thing, but from what I've heard, it doesn't need it. It's good in its own right. Then we have A Promise of Fire by Amanda Boucher. This is one in the Kingmaker Chronicles. Again, this has been on my wish list for a while. So it says here, Kingmaker, soothsayer, warrior, mage, kingdoms would rise and fall for her, if she is ever found. In the icy north, where magic is might, an all-powerful elite ruthlessly guided by a glacial queen has grown to dominate the world. Now, rebellion is stirring in the magic-poor south, where for the first time in a memory, a warlord has succeeded in uniting the tribal nations. Stuck in the middle is Kat, circus performer and soothsayer, safely hidden behind the harmless illusion of the circus, until someone suspects she's more than what she seems. Captured by the southern warlord Griffin, Kat's careful camouflage is wearing thin. For how long can she conceal the true extent of her power? Faced with dragons, rival gods, and the traitorous longings of her own heart, she must decide, is it time to claim her destiny and fight? I believe this is a series. I don't know if there's any more out actually, but I'm just really excited. That sounds different to a lot of fantasy that I've read recently. We then have one that I feel like everyone is going to know, but it is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. This, first of all, is a stunning edition. I have never seen one like this before. I've seen the hardback, which is the one that I wanted, but when I saw this paperback, I was like, I have to have you. But this follows our main character who finds a book that basically he reads it and it's all of his life. It's just a book about his life, and he's like, what? So following the clues inside, he's guided to a masquerade ball, a dangerous secret club, and finally to an ancient subterranean library, which Zachary finds in this curious place is more than just a buried home for books and their guardians. It is a place of lost cities and seas, lovers who pass notes across time, and of stories whispered by the dead. But when the library is threatened, Zachary must race through its twisted tunnels and secretly soaked shores, finding the end of his story. I also have Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, but I haven't read that one either. But what I have heard is that their writing is so beautiful, and I just need to be in the mood for it, and then I think I would just like swallow this book up. I really do. And I've heard nothing but good things about those books. We then have two more new books, and then the last two are just they're just like special editions of two of my favourite books. So we have The Beautiful by Renee Ardier. I'm not really sure how you pronounce that last name, I'm sorry, but this is a vampire book, and it's based in 1872 in Paris, but it says 1872 New Orleans is a city ruled by the dead, but to 17-year-old Celine, it's also a safe haven after she's forced to flee her life in Paris. Quickly enraptured by the vibrant city, from its music to its extravagant soirees and even its danger, she soon becomes embroiled in the city's glitzy underworld, and particularly the group known as La Cour des Lions. I don't speak French, so that probably was butchered, I'm sorry. But when her body is found in their lair, Celine is forced to battle her attraction for the group's enigmatic leader, Sebastian, and suspicions about his guilt, along with her own secrets. As more bodies are discovered, New Orleans becomes gripped by the terror of a serial killer on the loose, one who seems to have Celine in his sights. But when she finally takes matters into her own hands, she finds herself caught in the midst of an age-old feud between the darkest creatures of the night, where the price of forbidden love is her life. That sounds so good. Like, so good. It's kind of giving, like, the Originals vibes, being in New Orleans with vampires. But it's also kind of giving, like, Jack the Ripper vampire vibes. And I'm here for it, you know? We then have one of the chunkiest indie romantasy books I've ever seen, and that is Blood Mercy by Vila Roth. Look at the size of this book. First of all, it's the size of a hardback, and it's super chunky. For what reason? I don't know. I've heard it is a really slow burn, which I don't mind slow burns as long as there is like payoff at the end. But it follows Cassia, who seeks out a Hesperine. He could end her mortal life in a heartbeat. She has no fear of his magic or his fangs. She knows the real monster is the Human King, her father. If he finds out she is bargaining with his enemy, he'll send her to the executioner. As a Hesperine diplomat, Leo must negotiate with mortals who hate him. Cassia is different, but politics aren't why she captivates the gentle immortal. He wants more than her blood, and if he can't resist the temptation, he'll provoke the war he's trying to prevent. Slow burn, steamy romance meets classic fantasy world building and blood race. Follow fated mates Cassia and Leo through their epic love story for a guaranteed series happily ever after. I'm excited. So it's like Vampire Fae, I think. It's book 1 in the Blood Grace books. So yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about this. I have heard that it is incredibly slow burn, which again is fine as long as it pays off at the end. And then last but not least, Connor did treat me, and I have the collector's editions of Throne of Glass and A Court of Thorns and Roses. So the Court of Thorns and Roses one comes in slipcase. It just looks like this. So you've got Feyre and her bow and the wolf here. There's not really anything special about the insides apart from the pages are cornered with this. Just a stunning edition. I only did collector's editions for the first books in the series, but I don't think there's a Crescent City one. Throne of Glass one doesn't come in a slipcase, but it is equally stunning. The same sort of gold papers. They're both stunning, and I'm so happy I have them. I will probably never read these copies. I'm excited to add them to my shelf. But that is it. That is all 20 plus books. If you've read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts. I'm very excited to read all of them, but I would love to know what you thought about them. And if you got any new books recently and I haven't hauled them and you think I would like them, please also drop them down below. But for now, I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!